Hi. I've had a really bad day today. And lately, when I have a bad day, I record something. Sometimes I upload it, sometimes I don't. Um, but not really ready to talk about what's been going on today. And I actually don't think it would be that interesting to listen to, just some life bullshit. I don't know, just having a hard day. Look like shit. Fuck, I'm sorry. The only makeup I have on is stuff that stayed on from crying. So one thing that I want to talk about, it's a little get to know me, is my health history. So I don't meet a lot of people who are in the same boat as me, and my last videos have helped me realize that there are people like me, so I feel like maybe this one will help me realize that as well. Don't mind my dog, sorry. I feel like this one will help me realize that as well, that there are people who have gone through the same things, because I don't know, I live in a big city, but I don't know, I don't meet a lot of people who are going through the same stuff. So anyway, this is my story with seizures. When I was like 12, 7th grade. How old are you in 7th grade? Like 12? Around 12, around puberty, I started getting these really, really, really intense, like dizzy spells. They felt, it was not, almost not physical. Like, they felt like the most intense deja vu. Like, I felt like I was remembering a life that I had previously, and it would get more and more and more intense, and I would feel like I had to, like, stable myself. I'll get really dizzy and disoriented. So those started happening for a few months, and I told my mom about it, but I think she was kind of like, I don't know, you're getting dizzy, whatever. No one could have known. One day, I was getting ready for school, and I was in my kitchen, and I had my backpack on, and I started getting one of those, and I kind of leaned forward. Next thing I knew, I was on the ground, and my mom was calling for my stepdad to come downstairs. So I guess I had passed out. My dizzy spell had gotten so bad that I lost consciousness. So I kind of shook it off. You know, you're like 12, 13. You don't want to, like, make a big deal. You want to, like, Mom, calm down, I'm fine, whatever. So I went to school, and I was sitting in science class. It was like 3 hours later, and it happened again. And I fell down, and I actually had a seizure. So, not the most exciting thing to happen when you are in middle school. I actually sat directly next to my biggest crush in the world at that time. So I, like, had a seizure right in front of him, so that sucked. And my creepy science teacher tried to pick me up too. Like, thank God, I woke up like right as he was like trying to pick me up. He later got fired for looking at porn on his computer that like popped up on the projector in the middle of us having class. So yeah, anyway. They took me to the hospital, did a bunch of blood work, didn't see that anything was wrong. Over the next few months, it started happening like every other day I would have one, and then daily, and the severity of the seizures got worse and worse, where I would not only lose consciousness, but I would have, you know, like, convulse. sometimes I would just still have the dizzy spell where I didn't lose consciousness. Sometimes I would just pass out for a second. There was one time where I actually lost some memory. So it was very short, but I couldn't remember what had been going on for the last like day and a half. So as they got worse, my parents obviously were concerned. They took me to doctors and doctors and doctors, and nobody really could figure out what was going on. They did so many CTs, CAT scans, MRIs, blood tests, heart tests, sleep studies. Everything always came back normal. So over the years, I mean, now we're in 8th grade, freshman year, sophomore year. Freshman year, I think, was the worst. I started having them 3 to 5 times a day, to the point where I had to be in the homebound program, which was basically when a kid is, I guess, ill enough, or there's something going on. I was in the public school system. They will actually send a teacher to teach you while you're at home, which sucked because the most exhausting thing in the world is to have a seizure. And when I was having them that much, the only thing I wanted to do was sleep. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want a teacher to come to my house and try and teach me algebra. I wanted to sleep. And so I lost a lot of friends at that point because, you know, I couldn't hang out, and I don't expect, you know, how are 14-year-olds gonna come, they're gonna come sit by your bedside. I saw, I think, around like 30 to 40 different doctors in about in a 2-year span. And no one could really figure out what was going wrong. I would get weekly blood draws. There was one point when I had to go to school for a few days in a row, and I had like all these like I had like electrodes or like lots of monitors all over my chest. Again, talk about like humiliating when you're like that young. I was so embarrassed. And there was one doctor who, fucking idiot, decided that he was just going to put a pacemaker in my little 14-year-old heart, was gonna get a pacemaker just in case these were cardiac events. Oh my god, sorry. I swear I'm not that stupid. Just in case they were cardiac events, he was gonna put a pacemaker in and see if they stop. Luckily, my mom, I mean, she was amazing during all this. She was like, fuck no, goodbye. No, you're not putting a pacemaker in this 14-year-old who has nothing wrong with her heart. I did spend several months in the hospital. They would run tests. I had like monitors on my head and on my heart. They tried to like shock my system basically, so they wouldn't let me sleep. They would load me up on Mountain Dew, and I wasn't eating. I had a little like bicycle I had to ride. Basically everything unhealthy and all the stress you could put on my body to try and make me have seizures so they could figure out what was happening when I had them. They never really figured anything out. Around sophomore, junior year, they kind of slowed down. I would go through these long periods of time without having any, or they would get less where I would just have like a dizzy spell and then I would be okay, which really worked out well for my social life. Right when everyone's driving and dating and going out to parties, I finally was kind of able to have a social life again, and that's when I really tried to, I guess, make up for lost time. I went to a lot of parties, a lot, I mean, some, but I would let loose a lot. I would drink a lot, I would experiment with drugs. Dating-wise, I would get physical, I don't know, you know, whatever. Normal teenager stuff, but sometimes to an extreme where I even felt uncomfortable, but I felt like I just needed experiences as a teenager, because 12, 13, 14, 15, I was at home sleeping. So when I was 16 and 17, I wanted to party. I wanted to, like, soak it all up. I wanted to get crazy. That did not do well academically. It definitely, I was never really good at school anyway, and I was sick, and then when I wasn't sick, I was making up from being sick socially. That's something I wish I was able to go back to school and redo everything with a healthy mindset, because I feel like I would have done a lot better. But I also gained a lot of experiences. I feel like I have a lot of knowledge that younger people don't. When you, quite frankly, don't know if you're gonna die. I mean, no one knew what was wrong with me. In my head, I thought, you know, oh, I have a brain tumor that they can't find, and one day I'm just gonna pass out and die, and, no one really knows, so let me chug this beer. I also grew up pretty fast too. That was not for very long. But anyway, so I had this period of time where I didn't really have very many. And then they would slowly start coming back. I would have really weird chunks of time where I would start having them again. Hey, dog, this is not the time. Zay, stop it, go away. Yeah, you just lay down. Okay. My dogs. So I got married really young. When I was 19. We moved across the country. We started our own life. We bought a house. We were living together. I went to a nurse practitioner who was amazing, who heard my story, who said, we're starting off with a blood test. Now, if you heard the last 5 minutes, I had a million blood tests. I did not, I mean, I was like, okay, this is what, I've had a million blood tests, you're not going to find anything. When those results came back, she showed me that my estrogen and my progesterone, which are the two main female hormones that every woman should produce, both of those were, oh, that looks ugly, okay. Again, I'm sorry. I looked way cuter in the last video. Know that I'm prettier than this, okay? Anyway, my progesterone and my estrogen were very, very low. My estrogen was on the very low side. My progesterone was non-existent. She basically, like, literally had a form right there and said, this is what can happen when your progesterone and estrogen are off. It was like the second side effect was seizures. What? What? So, come to find out, I mean, we did some more research. I went got a second opinion, got some more blood work, whatever. I got on hormone pills, and which later turned into injections when I was trying to have my daughter. But basically, when I have hormones in my system, when I take progesterone and estrogen, I'm fine. I don't have seizures. I guess because I was 12, 13, 14, 15, when they were doing all these tests, they never ran a hormone panel, which is insane to me because I was going through puberty. It makes so much sense when you think about it. It started when I would have started having those hormones, or my body would have started feeling the lack of those hormones. And as I got older and older, they got more and more intense because I was depleted. And those times when I didn't have those hormones, well, I was on birth control, and which replaces your hormones. So now I basically have the option of I can be on just hormones. I'm sensitive enough now to just feel when I need them, and I can take a progesterone if I need it. But like currently I'm on birth control because single. And that does the same thing. I just have to make sure I'm being extra aware of how my body feels in case I need even extra, or it is possible for them to be too much because my body's not used to them. So I just make sure that I keep it balanced. But yeah, I think it's a little crazy to me. I lost so many years that are extremely important in someone's life because they just didn't do the hormone panel. And like some doctor wanted to put a pacemaker in. Like imagine that. I would have a pacemaker right now. I don't know everything about pacemakers, but can't you like not use a microwave? Can't you like not go on like planes? That's totally, don't quote me on that, that's wrong, but it affects your life. And to be that young and put a pacemaker in because I didn't have, like, I could have just been taking a pill, insane to me. So I now in my life, I don't know, I feel like I am much more trusting to more natural, the natural side of medicine. I actually work for a chiropractor. I'm not a chiropractor, but I do office management for a chiropractor, and I do believe in traditional medicine, but I think that sometimes just the way the medical community is put together, they get so one-track minded. Well, these are the steps we need to take when a child... I'm saying something important. These are the steps that we need to take when a child is having a seizure. We sleep deprive them and do a sleep study. We check their heart. We check their like iron and blood tests. They were so focused on it being like epileptic or diabetic or all of the other common causes when they didn't just check me as a person. Is this person well in all these different ways? And I don't know. I think I'm very, very grateful that at 20 years old I was able to figure it out, and now I can be a normal functioning person. But, I mean, that's 8 years of my life that I had no idea what was going on. And like I said, I thought maybe there was a possibility that I might be dying. I might be having mini strokes. I might have a brain tumor that they don't know about. I had no idea what was going on, and it was something so simple. So, anyway, I am healthy now. I will still get a little bit of dizzy spell here and there. Like I said, that's when I can kind of feel that things aren't right. But for the most part, I'm fine, and I know how to take care of it. And I'm so, so grateful that we figured it out. That's all. That's my story. I genuinely feel so much better now that I've just talked about something, because I truly, you guys, I had such a bad day. Like a really, really bad day. And it feels good to just talk about something that's not going on even. Let me know, again, if there's other things you want me to talk about. If you have questions that I can expand on, maybe make a video about that. I think I'm going to start doing this more and more when I have days like this. I think I'm just going to sit down and talk. So if you want, subscribe, and I will keep updating and keep telling stories. I don't know. Thank you. Thank you for support, by the way. Everybody's been really, really amazing and supportive. And I want you guys to know that I'm gonna be okay. I'm still trucking along. I have really hard days, but things are getting better and better. So anyway, thank you. Again, subscribe if you want to keep hearing me blabber. Okay, bye.
Oh, Peter. Oh.